News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Ben Hoover.
And I'm Alicia Barnes. We're live from Maine and Gervais. We begin tonight with news of a tragic loss out of Lexington.
District leaders with Lexington One Schools confirmed to ABC Columbia White Knoll High School student and baseball player Brett Williams died today. Close watchers of baseball might remember earlier this year, Williams had committed to play for the Gamecocks. The coroner says the 16-year-old is believed to have died as a result of complications related to a recent illness. Our Alexis Frazier is in Lexington working to gather new details for you. We hope you'll join us for the news at 11 to find out what she learns.
And we have some breaking news to tell you about right now out of Orangeburg tonight.
Here's your first look at a live picture out of Orangeburg, where crews have been battling an apartment fire since about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Our crew on the scene tells us that most fire trucks are now gone, but you can see heavy damage to the rooftop there. You're looking there at the 1200 building, again, of Roosevelt Gardens in Orangeburg. The fire started right around 3 o'clock. There's no word on what started that fire, but again, you're looking live there. 20 people are out of their homes. A good thing here is no injuries were reported, but again, we continue to gather new details on this fire. We hope you join us at 11 for that. Tonight, some South Carolina lawmakers are speaking up about the growing boycott of President-elect Trump's inauguration.
ABC Columbia's Gabrielle Franklin joins us from the State House with reaction.
Members of Congress from around the United States say that they are planning on boycotting Friday's inauguration. Today we spoke with local members of South Carolina's House to see how they feel about the matter.
I don't think it speaks well for the country.
South Carolina representatives are weighing in on the increasing number of legislators vowing to skip President-elect Trump's inauguration. Representative Gary Semerel says Americans should respect whoever becomes president.
I didn't support President Obama when he ran in 08 or in 12, but I certainly respect him and I respect the presidency. And I think when you boycott, you're boycotting America versus that person.
ABC News sources say the number of Congress members planning to boycott Trump's inauguration has risen to over 50.
Nothing binds these representatives to come out there and support him in his inauguration. If they feel that's what they want to do by not going to the inauguration, I would support their opinion.
Regardless of whether they agree with the boycott or not, representatives say congressional members have the right to miss out on the ceremony.
And that's a way, of course, people expressing themselves as far as their own personal conviction is concerned.
I also certainly respect the right for anyone to boycott what they do not approve of. But I can tell you that, Donald Trump is the legitimate president elect of the United States. He will be sworn in on the 20th, and I look forward to being a part of that in D.C.
At the State House, Gabrielle Franklin, ABC Columbia News.
And in just 3 days, Donald Trump will officially be sworn in as the 45th president of the United States of America.
Local lawmakers who we just heard from right there are joining a growing boycott on the national level in Congress. And that's drawing criticism from some. ABC's Stephanie Ramos has that angle of the story from Washington.
We're just 3 days away from President-elect Donald Trump taking the oath of office as the 45th president of the United States. The inauguration comes with a hefty price tag. It costs about $115 million for the platform in front of the Capitol, paid by American taxpayers like years past, and then another $100 million in donations. Hundreds of thousands of supporters and protesters are expected in D.C., while a growing list of Democrats are boycotting the event.
I cannot pretend that this is a normal transition of power.
ABC News has identified at least 50 Democrats in Congress who say they will skip out on Trump's swearing in. This movement being led by Georgia Congressman John Lewis, a civil rights icon who Trump dismissed via Twitter after Lewis said Trump is an illegitimate president, citing Russia's involvement in the 2016 election.
Whether John Lewis started it or not, Mr. Trump should have said, let's talk, let me listen to you. What are your issues?
Trump is now responding to a number of headlines, including his approval rating. A new ABC News Washington Post poll shows Trump's approval rating is the lowest seen for an incoming president of the last 7 presidents. Even with those weak ratings, 6 in 10 Americans polled expect Trump to do an excellent or good job on the economy and on jobs alike. Boeing CEO met with Trump today and agrees.
And I think Mr. Trump's engagement with industry is going to help us grow manufacturing jobs in this country.
This week is also full of confirmation hearings. 8 of Trump's cabinet picks are in the hot seat. Today, the Interior and Education Secretary nominees face questions. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
All right, and speaking of the confirmation hearings, tonight Governor Nikki Haley is preparing to take the hot seat for her UN confirmation hearing, and tomorrow Haley will go before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Now, although experts say she lacks traditional foreign policy experience, Haley has negotiated with foreign countries on behalf of South Carolina, bringing new companies to the state. ABC Columbia News spoke to several lawmakers about Haley's upcoming confirmation. Many of them agree that Haley's experience of tackling tough issues in the state have prepared her to handle issues that she may face in Washington. Well, it's time to look ahead to the state of the city in Columbia. Today, Columbia Mayor Steve Benjamin announced that he will give the 2017 State of the City address on January the 31st. It'll take place at 6 p.m. at the Darla Moore School of Business. It will be held in the W.W. Hootie Johnson Performance Hall.
We wanted to pass along some new details tonight in a crash that held up traffic along I-77 last night. The coroner has identified the victim as 55-year-old Barrett Keith Scott of Columbia. State troopers say Scott was not wearing a seatbelt when he was involved in that crash with 2 tractor trailers last night. The accident at mile marker 28 near Blythewood shut down traffic for several hours last night. Well, if the calendar didn't say January, you'd have a hard time convincing a lot of people that it's winter. I mean, come on. Really?
It was just beautiful outside
Breaking
today.
a sweat during just running errands?
Chief Meteorologist John Farley joins us live right now. John, it feels like spring outside, really.
Yes, it does, and I'll admit it. I had my air conditioning on this afternoon as I was driving around. It's warm, still warm, 70 degrees, a few clouds in play, and that's it. How about this evening? Well, pretty much the same story. It's going to be warm all evening long, 60s, and feeling more like March. Here's a look at the forecast for the morning, getting the kids out the door spring-like, upper 50s. There'll be some more clouds in the morning, not quite as this morning it was dense fog. I don't expect that. We'll see a couple of pockets of fog, but clouds in play tomorrow to start it off. But then as the day grows along, the clouds disappear. And check this out, tomorrow afternoon, closing in on 80. Remember, the average high for this time of year would be mid-50s. Not happening tomorrow, way warmer than that. Now, there is some rain in the 7-day forecast. We'll talk about when that appears, and if we have any winter-like temperatures on the horizon, we'll see you in 10 minutes and talk all about that.
All right, thank you so much, John. Well, the wife of the Orlando nightclub shooter appeared in federal court this afternoon.
Federal prosecutors unsealed an indictment against Nuar Salman. That document says between April and June last year, she did knowingly and abet her husband's attempt to support ISIS. She's accused of misleading police in their investigation of the shootings, which left 49 people dead. The search for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 has been suspended. The Boeing 777 disappeared nearly 3 years ago with 239 passengers and crew members on board. Investigators say they have completed their search in the Indian Ocean, and there's no evidence to continue looking. Well, do you have plans to battle back against the flu? Who doesn't? Up next, Palmetto Health is helping in that fight with free flu shots. We'll explain.
And it's not Batman, but one famous TV character gets a big honor here in South Carolina. Find out why next on ABC Columbia News at 6. We're live from Maine and Gervais.
From Maine and Gervais,